Unbeknownst to many American citizens, the Biden administration now dips to the lowest of lows by literally paying the salaries of those Arab terrorists who murder Jews. Stay tuned for the breakdown right here at the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of fake news and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. As always, go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to follow us on social media. Guys, we were announcing now, this is big news, we're heading to America. We're having some massive rallies. We're having rallies in Nashville, March 26th, Houston, March 28th, and in Dallas on March 30th. We want to see your face there. If there's anything that we can do right now to support Israel, it's to put our literal feet in the game. We want to see you at these rallies, these Heartland, Israel's biblical Heartland rallies in these three locations. So if you're anywhere close by, if you have friends that you can send in that direction, come and send your friends. We need to rally in mass numbers to let Israel know where we really stand. And this is what we're going to raise some voices. We're going to raise a massive voice in America of support for Israel, true support of Israel, not the watered down garbage that we're hearing of the so-called support of Israel that has a lot of strings attached on the back. No, we're talking about raising up a massive voice of support for Israel like that's never been raised up before. Join us in person at these rallies. Guys, we're diving right in, and this is the reason, really, for these rallies to be going on. We're having massive failure. America's support of Israel is falling apart. As the Biden administration, I know it doesn't represent all of us, certainly doesn't represent the conservative Americans that I'm talking to right now. I understand that. But you have to know what's actually going on, and that's what I'm going to inform you now. Most people in the world are saying, what are the reasons for the spike in terrorism in Israel right now? Many are blaming that it's a conservative government of Israel. It's awakening the beast, and terrorism is coming out to fight the so-called right-wingers that are now in control in Israel, and they're inflaming the Arabs by resisting them. Is that the truth? Is that really what's going on, or do we know better than that? Is there something that the mainstream media is certainly hiding from you? And that is very true. The mainstream media is hiding something from you, and that is the fact of this. Let me pull this graph up to you. These are facts on the ground. We're pulling up this graph. This graph shows that terrorism in Israel is directly affected by the amount of money the international world puts into the Palestinian Authority. Meaning, if America gives, as the Biden administration gives, $1 billion to the Palestinian Authority, terrorism spikes. I'm telling you, to the exact tune of the money given, terrorism follows. This is what the graph shows. Shows the amount of those murdered in the streets of Israel are exactly to the amount of money given by the international world, of which America is one of the finest at. And so this directly connects terrorism in Israel to the support. Well, it's not really baffling to me because I know, because I live here, that the Palestinian Authority is a terrorist organization. And the Biden administration is covering that. They also know that the Palestinian Authority is a terrorist organization, but it benefits them massively to continue the conflict in the Middle East, and they will continue not only to support, but pay millions to the tune of $1 billion to the Palestinian Authority just to continue their programs, of which I will now get into. The pay-to-slay program is banned in America. The pay-to-slay program, after Taylor Force was murdered in the streets of Jaffa, American military individual that was here, horrifically he was murdered, and the terrorist began to receive a salary, and the Taylor Force Act was by his parents, was put into place, and President Trump signed the Taylor Force Act into law in 2018. What happened in 2018? Right after that attack, he was murdered in 2016. The bill was placed, and in America, law came about 2018. What did we see immediately with that law? That meant that law said that America could no longer support the Palestinian Authority as long as they were paying their terrorists to kill Jews. Now, what happened? America pulled its support out. And did you know that when that happened, Israelis stopped dying on the streets. It stopped. And did you know that when Americans do not support terrorism, terrorism stops in Israel? It's very simple and very blatantly true. And when Trump steps down and Biden steps in and denies and totally defies American law in 2021 and begins to pay terrorists again, we all of a sudden see a spike in terrorism because they're paying now the salaries of those that are murdering Jews. Does it make sense to you now? Let me make this very clear. The Biden administration, if they stop paying salaries of those that kill Jews, the killers stop. The killers want money. And if Biden stands up and this whole administration says, if you kill Jews, we will pay you, we're not going to stop it, more like, then these we will give you the money then for the PA, the Palestinian Authority, to give to you. There's money in the bank. It's just waiting for you. You talk about being incentivized. America is incentivizing terror against Israel. Don't make any mistakes about it. America is incentivizing terrorist attacks against Jews on the streets of Israel. Every time you see a terrorist attack in Israel, which unfortunately right now, just this year, we've had 14 attacks, murders against Jews. Those terrorists are receiving checks directly out of the money that America is giving to the PA, and they're giving that directly to these terrorists that killed these innocent Jewish people. This has to be stopped. It already is a law. The Taylor Force Act that was signed and sealed in 2018 is already there on the books. It's just not being adhered to. It's being completely run over. It's against the law in America. This is not just a Trump thing where you could get away with. No, this is law in America. It's still law in America that you are not allowed to give money to terrorist infrastructure that specifically pays terrorists to murder other people. Anybody, don't pay terrorists. Specifically, this act is against paying Palestinians to kill Jews. As long as the Palestinian Authority makes it their highest salaries to pay Arabs to kill Jews, and America is still funding that, then we have a major problem on our hands, and the Taylor Force Act is being trampled. Right now in America, the Taylor Force Act is being absolutely trampled. Let's look back at what happened. In 2021, when Biden came back in, he immediately sent $75 million to the Palestinian Authority. The immediate results were 17 Israelis died, murdered in the streets by terrorists. 2022, the U.S. continued that support, gave millions to the Palestinian Authority. 29 Israelis were murdered in the streets. 2023, right now, 14 Israelis have already been killed. And as I just spoke to you, when the Taylor Force Act was being upheld, when American law meant something, Israelis were not dying in the streets to this magnitude. When we uphold the law, when we stop supporting terrorism, terrorism stops. Stop supporting terrorism. We have to make our voices loud and clear. I want to give a quote from a good friend of ours, Rabbi Pesach Walinki. He says this: the current U.S. administration, though through its criminal violation of U.S. law, is empowering and incentivizing the murder of Israeli citizens, the Biden administration is directly, yet knowingly, funding the families of terrorists and murderers. That is very clear. I hope you all can understand what's going on here. I hope that you can all would you stop listening to this show, go and call your representatives, and let's start really making some noise, because until America is held accountable to its own laws on its own books, murders in the streets are going to continue happening here until we can stop this madness. Guys, we'll wake up. We have to stop it. We have to stop the Palestinian Authority from its terrorist actions. They're emboldened on the streets right now, and that's why you're seeing the havoc. This is unacceptable. We can no longer see Israelis murdered and see our tax dollars going to pay for it. This is unbelievable that American tax dollars are paying salaries of terrorists walking the streets of Israel looking for innocent Jews to kill. If they can be successful, America then pays. It's unbelievable, unacceptable. Guys, let's do something. Let's rally. let's rally in Nashville. Let's rally in Dallas, and let's rally in Houston. You can get more information on this in the link below. But let's gather together like we never have before to stop the madness, to send a clear message to the Biden administration that we, the people, do not support terrorism. We will withhold American law, and we will not continue to see Israelis die on the streets, not with our money, not with our tax dollars. This has to stop. Guys, as always, subscribe. Let's get the conversation going below. There's so many things, so many vital things that are happening in the state of Israel right now that we have to get the word out about. This is the tops of the issues that need to be brought up in the forefront that we need to get out there. So guys, the best way you can do that is subscribe and put your face to the events. Let's get our feet on the ground in the events in the U.S. that are coming up here at the end of the month. Guys, as always, tune out the fake news. Tune into what is actually happening here in the heartland of Israel. We'll be back every day of the week, Monday through Friday, with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.